So today I want to share with you how I think about decision making and why decision making is one of the biggest skill sets that you can develop and improve upon that will create the biggest impact for you in your business. So decision making is everything. If you look at your business day to day, how you run it, how you operate it, the things that you do, the things that you spend time on, the things you spend energy on, where your focus goes, it all comes down to, at the barest level, the decisions that you're making, consciously or subconsciously. Super important. So how can you make better, faster decisions in your business that will move you towards where you want to go? So how do I go about this process, and how do I coach my clients on this? Is I've developed this framework of questions or filters that you can apply in business to help you figure out how to make that from a really good, empowered place, and how to feel really confident when you do make decisions. No more second guessing. How many times have you not made a decision and sat on something and either knowingly or unknowingly allowed it to just go on and on until the decision is made for you? That is also making a decision. That is like non-consciously opting out. So I want to offer that that's really a non-helpful thing for you to do in your business, because that will put you in the position of not having responsibility and not being in control and in charge of things that are happening. So much better to be on the front foot and to be the person driving forwards, and instead of just allowing things to unfold. Okay, so decision making, and it is a skill set. It is this balance of trusting yourself and also using your logical mind to plan ahead and to think ahead, and emotional management. That's kind of the core ingredients I see: trusting yourself, emotional management, and problem using your problem solving brain, your thinking, your logical brain. This is like the magic combination of things that go into decision making. And the questions that so I've literally written out an entire kind of chunk of one of my programs just on this, because it's so important. There are lots of different lessons within this, but I wanted to give it to you here, to help you if there's anything that you're stuck in your business and you can't decide between one or the other, or you're at a crossroads, or you're choosing a different client base, or you're choosing a different offer, or you're choosing a different price, or anything like that that's happening. This will help you. So thinking about the six questions to ask yourself. The first one is connected to your identity. Will making this decision make me more of who I want to become or less of who I want to become? This is really wrapped up in your values and your integrity. When you think about making the decision either way, yes or no, in or out, think about, if I make the decision yes, does it move me further towards who I want to be, or does it take me away from who I want to be? That's such a good one. Sometimes you can just solve the problem with the first one, and it's just such an obvious yes that you're like, oh great, that's solved. So that's a really, really interesting one, and it's the one that I lead with because it can be the root of indecision can be that, and it's about asking the right question to yourself. So when I ask myself anything about my business and what strategy I want to take and why, and the reasons why I want to do that, this can be the most helpful thing, because when I'm like, great, is that moving me more towards my future kind of idea of my company, my future idea of my business, my future idea of myself, then it's always a yes, regardless of the thing and whether it doesn't make sense in the moment. And the reason I'm talking about this was actually prompted by a conversation I had with my other half earlier today, when he questioned some of my decisions. But it was fine, and that was acceptable to me, because of course he's entitled to his opinion. But it was just so interesting to see he was so focused on like the decision for right now, the decision that makes sense for the present. And I'm always thinking about the decision that will make sense for my future self, like in 3 years' time. So there's going to be a disparity sometimes, and that's okay. So thinking about that and putting that into your filter can be really helpful. Does this make me more of who I want to become, or does it move me further away from who I want to become? Second question, what is the potential upside? If everything goes amazingly, if it all goes exactly to plan, if it all works out exactly as I think it's going to work out, what is the potential upside? Where's the best case scenario that I can take your mind to, and take your mind there. If it helps, write that down. It's not usual that we take our minds there because we're so focused on what can go wrong that we sit in that place and we don't allow ourselves to go to the best case scenario. So really take your mind to that. Like, if this worked out incredibly well and everything went swimmingly, what happens? Like, what's the best thing that could possibly happen? And then thirdly, what is the downside? So have you accurately judged the potential risk? What is the potential risk? How will you measure it? This is crucial for both of these parts. What is the potential upside, and how will you know? What is the measurement, and what is the potential downside? Again, and how will you measure it? What is that? What is the fact? And this is where it's so interesting to keep it very logical. Like, keep your brain in the logical problem solving thinking, because that's where we have to make decisions from. In addition to some intuition, I'm going to talk about that as well. But really, it's like collecting the information that you need to assess it properly. Like, how will you know? How are you going to assess that? Do you need more information? Where can you get the information from? Your brain wants to have the answers to all these questions, so just let it have them and go and get the information that you need. The fourth one is, will it save or take time? And is the result that you'll get worth that? So if it takes time, but on the upside, you're going to make £100,000 and it's going to take 6 months of really figuring stuff out and committing and working hard, is that a balance? Is that a payoff that you're happy to do? So it's just about understanding what it is it's going to take, and whether the result, you like that. You like that balance. You like that exchange, essentially. And if it saves time, what will you do with the time that you save? So I love this question. Will it save time or will it take time? And in either case, I want you to kind of understand what that means for you. What is the payoff that you're getting for both of those things? And then the last thing is intuition. And this is really just about trusting yourself. You can call it all the different things. It doesn't really matter what you call it. Some people call it intuition, some people call it guidance, some people call it inner knowing. I just call it trust. It's like trusting yourself. And again, like, this is all useful if you're really stuck. But I also think that the reason we get really stuck is we allow ourselves to be stuck because it's easier than taking action. It's easier than committing one way or the other because we think we're going to lose something by doing it. And I want to offer that that's never the case. You never lose something by deciding. When you really lose things, opportunities, chances to connect with people, chances to grow, chances to develop your identity, chances to, explore your capabilities, is when you don't make the decision. It's when you stay indecisive and inactive, when you're not making a conscious step. So whichever direction step you choose, you make it the right choice. This filter, this question filter, can really help when you feel stuck, when you're like, yes, but I really don't know. Yes, Meg, but I really am stuck. Instead of being stuck literally just being a thought in your mind, which it is. It's not a real thing. You can just choose to be unstuck just as quickly. But if you are finding yourself like torn between two different scenarios and you really can't decide, these questions really, really help. Another question that I love to sit with, and this does take some time to sit with. Sometimes I make super fast decisions and sometimes I have to sit with it. and there's no rhyme or reason necessarily. You're probably the same. Like some things it's very quick and natural for you, and some things takes more. Is if both things worked out exactly the way you wanted, essentially, if both were right, if there was no wrong option here, which one would you just like to do? Which one would be more enjoyable? Which would be more fun? Which feels better? Which feels easier? Which do you just want to do? What are you more leaning towards? That will always be the right thing anyway, because you can call it intuition or you can call it guidance or trust in yourself, but this will uncover, if you go through these 6 questions, it will uncover that. But even if you didn't use any of these questions, you could just start with, if it all works out exactly as I planned, exactly as I think it will, whichever path I choose, what just feels best? What would I just like? And then doing that. So making it really simple on yourself. Don't tie yourself up with knots. The thing that will help you make a decision is more information. The thing that doesn't help you make a decision is more time. It never helps to have more time. The more time you allow for decision making, the more confusing it can become. Actually, the more opinions you seek for, and you ask for, the more confusing it becomes. And I always think that when you are looking outside and asking other people to validate or to give opinion, it's because you really doubt that you can make the right one. But there is no right one. There is just the one that you choose. So everyone else can have a lot of different opinions, and it's not going to help you make a decision. It's in fact going to make things much more unclear for you. It's going to confuse the matter so much more. So when you can come back to just a simple framework like this, does it make me more or less of who I want to be? What is the potential upside? What is the potential downside? How will I know that? How will I measure that? What are the actual facts? Will it save me time or will it take me time? And am I prepared to have that exchange either way? And then what just feels right? And if I knew that both things would be right and they would work and they'd have the amazing outcome that I want, what would I just love to do? So that is what I have for you. I hope this really helps. This is going to help you understand what's driving the actions that you're taking in your business, because everything starts with a decision, whether you know it or not, whether you're consciously making the decision or you're just allowing things to happen and it feels like that and it feels like it's out of your control. It's because you're subconsciously allowing it to escape you. You're allowing your power to be taken from you by being passive. And when you're being passive, it can be super easy to fall into, oh, this stuff just happened to me and this is the fact of the matter and this is just what happened, instead of, how am I responsible for this? Where didn't I make a decision that needed to be made, and why didn't I make it? Sometimes it can just be a little bit scary, because especially as a business owner, and I was talking about this with a friend the other day, is it is all on you. Essentially, you're leading the business and also doing the thing in the business, delivering the service or the product, and doing all that kind of stuff, and you're also in charge. So that's freeing and equally terrifying. It's kind of like being a parent. It's incredible, but the weight of responsibility sometimes can give you cold sweat because you're like, oh, I'm responsible for the mental and emotional and physical well-being of another human being. And sometimes that can totally freak you out, especially when you're a new mum and you've just had a baby. That was my experience anyway. And it's kind of the same in your business. You're like, I am responsible for the well-being and the health of my business, and every decision that I make has an impact. You can look at it that way and freak yourself out, or you can look at it from a super empowered position, saying like, oh, I'm in charge, I'm going to own this, I'm going to lead this, I can make it what I want, I make powerful decisions, and everything that I choose to do works out. That's an awesome thought, by the way, you can have. Like, everything I decide to do, it always works out for me. Whether it works in terms of the actual strategy and the plan, or it works in terms of smacking me around the face with a big old lesson that I had to learn, that's given me new skill sets and built my resilience. Either way, it's win-win. So that's how I can take a lot of powerful and big decisions in my business, with less of the like puke inducing feeling and more of the, oh, I've got this is totally going to be all right, and I totally trust my decision making. And when you get to that place and you can convey that to your people through marketing, it shows up in everything. It shows up in how you sell, it shows up in how you market, it shows up in how you invite people in. It's very attractive as an energy. It's like that very sort of subtle, quiet, understated confidence that people can just feel when you have that sense of, trusting yourself and being, you're totally okay with you no matter what. That's really compelling. So when you get to that point, and that will just come through practice and practice and practice, and having your own back, making decisions, and having yourself, like holding yourself regardless, whatever happens, like either I win or I learn with a big lesson, and it's going to be a win-win. When you can have that sense, it really doesn't matter what your business throws at you or what the world throws at you, because you're always going to be okay. So it goes back to the initial thing I was talking about around trust and emotional management and resilience. So I hope this has helped you today. For any questions on this, send me a message. I would love to hear your thoughts, and any decisions that you're thinking of at the moment, anything that's on your mind that you have been feeling stuck with. Apply this process, see how it works, and I'd love to hear about it. All right, have a good day. I'll see you soon. Bye.